Yes.
Is the camera on,
Camera's on the speaker. And there's no, it's not on, there's no other participants on Zoom.
strange how it's not showing like the multiple views, it's just you.
Hello?
Normally it points at who's ever talking,
Yeah, you're right. Should have box.
It's using their laptop.
might be using that laptop camera. Not okay.
Oh,
Okay. Thank you. I think you figured that out.
There you go. Change that to owls.
There we go, the lights, his eyeball this one.
There we go.
Here we are.
There we are.
Your good stuff.
Okay. Could you please do us a favor of signing in? Thank you. And with that, it is now 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting of the town board of the town of Northeast to order. It is Thursday, April 13th, 2023, 7 o'clock. And I'd like to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic which stands one nation under God, liberty and justice for all. I'd like to ask Tilly to conduct a roll call, please.
Supervisor Cannon,
Here.
Councilwoman Morrison. Here. Councilman Fidele,
Here.
Councilman Midwood,
Here.
Councilwoman Winkler.
Here.
Thank you. The agenda has been distributed and was posted. There are a couple of additions to the agenda. One is that we have a resolution noting that April is Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month, which Tilly will distribute. The second is that I left off the agenda, the report of the Communications Committee. So that report will be made. And the third is that we have communication from Habitat Humanity for Dutchess County, which Warren will refer to. With those changes, I'd like to ask for a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And welcome everybody to summer today. Couple of notes. We have some big events coming up between now and the next town board meeting. On April 22nd, Saturday, April 22nd, Earth Day will be celebrated here in Millerton and Northeast. There is a lot of activity underway, a lot of plans for observing this important day. And there will be information about it and on the Climate Smart Communities website and in the newspaper and distributed in as many other ways as humanly possible. In addition to that, following that, on May 6th, the annual, what now appears to be an annual bulk trash day. That will be down at the old highway garage on South Center Street from 9 till 12. And as always, we're very grateful to Bob Stevens for volunteering his time to help load a lot of things that are brought there onto the containers, which have been ordered, should be noticed, they've already been ordered. It's always a great opportunity for people to get rid of trash, bulk trash. With that, I would like to ask Bob for a report from the highway department.
No, everything is going well with the highway department. We have the shared bucket truck for the month of April, so we're taking advantage of that. Taking down a lot of good trees. Fortunately, the ash borer has done a lot of damage to the ash trees, so. Made a lot of work for us. Also doing a little drainage work and we'll brush cutting with Bowmore. And then May we will be moving to a gravel road maintenance in May.
Okay. There's a lot of activity going on up at the new highway garage.
Is
Can you just tell us briefly what's been going on this week?
this week they've been removing excess material from inside the foundation and backfilling around the footings and walls inside now.
And they completed last week, they completed the pouring, the concrete pouring of the walls.
So you get the walls are complete.
Yeah, so things are moving along up there. There's a lot of work still going on the site. But I'm pleased with the pace. The pace has picked up, and I believe that we have a tentative date for the beginning of the actual construction of the metal building in about 10 days.
24.
Right, so that's very good news.
It is.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Unless anybody has a question for Bob on the board. Otherwise, we thank you and see you up there.
Yeah.
The assessor has advised me that she has no report. We did receive from town clerk reports on the building department, the dog catcher, planning board, ZBA. Those were all received. Is there any report from the tax collector?
I did send a report on that.
Okay.
We're 89% collected. That's pretty good.
Okay, well, that's very good. Well, I did want to mention while I'm mentioning that I did receive these reports from the town clerk. One of the things that I wanted to say is that I'm very pleased that our town clerk has been awarded a special scholarship to attend the annual meeting of the New York State Town Clerks Association, which is several days. I mean, I happen to think that our clerk doesn't need any additional training because she's perfect, but it sounds really exciting and I'm sure we'll all look forward to hearing about that.
Thanks. I'm looking forward to it.
The board committee activity. Ralph, did you want to say anything about the cemetery committee? I know it just met.
Yeah, we're working on a solicitation letter. And there's also the nomination to the state and national registry of historic places. So that's coming along. There's going to be a site map project that we're working on also. So this is the beginning of a long process. It's going to take several years to do it, but we're proceeding.
I think it's an amazing, ambitious and very worthy project. And this was the original cemetery. For
Yeah.
the town of Northeast. Before Millerton was formed, there was Spencer's Corners. And that cemetery was the cemetery of the church that was there, which then relocated into Millerton when Millerton got started, but the cemetery is there with monuments that go back to, I think, to 1700.
1701 is the first one.
Yeah. So it's really it has very special meaning for the town, and I think it's great that this group is working so hard on it.
Well, we sprayed a lot of the monuments last fall, the ones that were standing. And they've really cleaned up quite a bit.
Yeah, this is a spray that biodegradable
D2, yeah, there's that
spray
D2.
that takes off the lichen and the whatever grows on
Yep,
stone.
yep,
So it's there. I drove by it the other day and you could even see some from the road that look nice and clean. Obviously, with the passage of time, these gravestones fall over. And when I first drove by it and I saw some of them falling over, I thought it was the result of vandalism. It turns out, no, it's really the result of time.
heaving.
Heat,
too.
frost heaving, and many of them are not put in with a substructure anyway. It's we'll look forward to hearing more about it as this work progresses. Meg, do you want to make a report on the communications committee? This is a new committee, by the way, of the town. And I'm very excited that not only is it new, but it's working.
Yeah, so Don and I are on the communications committee and we met together about just generally talking of how people have also given feedback about having access to information easier. So we tried to we were looking at some ways to improve. Number one being, we already have a newsletter, electronic newsletter sent out by Chris and then also by Tilly at times. So, one of the things is to also outreach to people to sign up in our town. And how do we get to those people? So we have to find other ways to get people to sign up if they are on email. Whether we have to put up like a actual flyer or we'll publicize it or do a better job, that's a goal. Then another thing is to improve the website. We'd love it to be more intuitive, that some of the feedback was that they don't know where to go for info. So low hanging fruit, we can make some initial improvements without a total redesign, and Tilly's been doing a great job of updating the website. So there's some constraints to the formatting of it, but we're going to try to improve some general things, and down the road, maybe have to redesign it, but really have it so that it's a place that anyone could come learn about our community. Also, the residents to have maybe connections to other calendars of our village and other events happening in our area. So just, that's really it'll be a major focus. I mean, that's really for people who have the internet that can get on it. So, and then later, we might need to do a physical mailing to our residents with some updates for people who don't have email. And that can be considered. And then another thing is, we've talked a lot, and Chris has, about having public community conversations and try to open that up so that we can bring people together, whether it's at the library annex or somewhere else, that people can, outside of the town meeting where it's really a comment period, really have some active dialogue. So that's just the beginning that we're hoping to do.
I was thinking about that today, about maybe we can find a Saturday morning when as many people are in town as possible and do something at the library annex. We may need to wait till after Earth Day and after Bulk Trash Day, but at some point, perhaps in May or early June, we could do that. I'd like to work on that and have. I've talked about it before, a coffee with a supervisor type of thing, where there's an opportunity to have a conversation, which town boards do not lend themselves to. So I think that's great. I'm all in.
We'll keep working.
Anyway, thank you for that. Okay, now we're moving into the agenda items. And we will be having a public hearing on the Monroe test. But do you want to introduce the
Sure.
subject?
Sure, as
everybody knows, most everybody, the town is currently under contract to purchase a piece of property located at 5603 Route 22, the town of Northeast, from the Jehovah's Witness Church. The property is 3.1 acres and is currently improved by the church facility, which is quite well constructed, we understand. The town has negotiated a contract, we're under contract to purchase the property. Things are moving along very satisfactorily towards the consummation of that purchase. We have a couple of loose ends that we have to tidy up ourselves. And the problem that we have is that the town property is located in the town's R3A district. And a town hall is not a permitted use in that district. As a matter of fact, there is not a district in the town in which town hall is a permitted use. It's one of the deficiencies in our zoning law. We had the same problem with the highway garage. And we went through the same process that we're going to go through tonight, and that's known as the Monroe balancing test. In circumstances where a municipality undertakes a project within its own borders, which may be in violation of its own zoning laws, the municipality is permitted to make a determination that is exempt in whole or partially exempt from those regulations. In making such a determination, the town board is required now to follow the guidance of the New York State Court of Appeals decision in the matter of Monroe versus City of Rochester. The guidance that this is not a statute, this is a decisional law guidance from the Court of Appeals. And in making a determination as to whether the town can supersede or ignore its own zoning laws in citing a facility or conducting a use which is not permitted in the zoning law, the town must first undergo the Monroe balancing test, in which it's required to consider 9 factors. And the factors, as set forth by the Court of Appeals, relate to the nature and scope of the instrumentality seeking the exemption, the encroaching government's legislative grant of authority, the kind, there's a misspelling in there, the kind or function or land use involved, the effect local land use regulation would have on the enterprise concerned, the alternate locations for the facility in a less restrictive zoning area, the impact upon legitimate local interests, alternative methods of providing the proposed improvement, the extent of the public interest to be served by the improvements, and the intergovernmental participation in the project development process, and an opportunity to be heard. And the town board actually makes its own determination as to whether it's going to, after applying these 9 factors to the case at hand, on which whether it's going to go ahead and cite the facility, in this case, the town hall in the R3A district, the location at 5603 Route 22, in spite of the fact that it's actually not permitted in our zoning law. I provided some guidance to the town board prior to tonight for them to review, so that they're familiar with this process. We also went through the same process when we undertook construction of the town garage. That was not permitted in that zoning district, and we had to go through the same process. I've also provided the board with a governmental services technical series document for they choose to read it. So tonight I've taken the liberty of preparing a resolution adopting the Monroe balancing of public interest test determination for the proposed town of Northeast Town Hall facility. Property Act acquisition at 5603 Route 22 in the town of North. And I'll read it. Whereas the town of Northeast is a municipal corporation duly organized and existing pursuant to the laws of the state of New York, and having such powers and responsibilities pursuant to the provisions of the New York State Town Law to provide a town hall for the conduct of municipal operations. And whereas the town of Northeast is under contract to purchase parcel of real property located at 5603 Route 22, consisting of approximately 3.01 acres of land from the Rhinebeck Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, which I will refer to as the subject premises. And whereas the subject premises are currently improved by a church facility constructed in 1992 pursuant to building permits and certificates of occupancy issued to the church by the town's building department. And whereas the town of the current town hall is located in a building located at 19 North Maple Avenue, Milton, New York, which had been converted from a single family residence to a town hall. And whereas the current town hall, is grossly inadequate and dated and has significant constraints and deficiencies, including but not limited to the fact that there is no adequate handicap access to the second floor of the town hall. And whereas the town of Northeast Town Board has conducted an extensive search for suitable vacant property on which to construct a new town hall or improve properties which could be rehabilitated and retrofitted for town hall use, and has been unable to locate any such suitable properties either within the village of Milton or the town of Northeast. And whereas the subject property is located in the town's R3A zoning district in which a town hall is not a permitted or a specially permitted use. And whereas pursuant to the decision of the New York State Court of Appeals in matter of the County of Monroe, a balancing of public interest analysis is required to determine whether and to what extent this project shall be exempt from the town zoning code. And whereas the town of Northeast Town Board held a public hearing, and we will have a open the public hearing at this point. If any member of the public wants to comment on whether it's appropriate for the town to locate the town hall on this location in the R3 district, in spite of the fact that it's not permitted by the zoning code. It'll give you public another opportunity to comment after I'm finished with the process. So if anybody wants to speak now, that's fine.
Warren, could we open the public hearing after you finish reading it?
Yes, I
Before
think
we
you should
take any action
We
on
should
it?
now open the public hearing.
Okay, I'd like to ask for a motion. To open a public hearing on the Monroe balancing test. For the purchase of the Jehovah's Witnesses building as a future town hall.
So moved.
If any member of the public wants to speak on this, we'd be happy to hear you. Okay, that's good.
Okay. Warren, should we leave the, first of all, we should vote on opening the public hearing.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Therefore, let's do a roll call vote.
Okay. Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison. Aye. Councilman Fideli,
Aye.
Councilman Midwood,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler.
All in favor? Yes.
And let's leave it open. because
We'll leave
we're
it-
gonna go
leave it-
Through the process. and
Okay.
Public may have additional comments or the board members may have additional comments. So I'll continue with that paragraph, whereas the town of Northeast Town Board holding a public hearing on April 13th, 2023, for purposes of describing the acquisition and retrofitting of the church structure to be undertaken at the subject premises, and to receive inquiry and comment from the public regarding criteria to be considered by the town board in conducting the requisite Monroe balancing test analysis. And whereas the town has engaged the services of an architect to examine the church building to determine if the same is suitable for conversion to a town hall, and has retained the services of an engineer, building inspector to examine the premises to also determine if there are any deficiencies in the building which would prevent or impair the ability of the town to convert the same to a town hall in a commercial reasonable manner. And whereas the town has determined on the basis of such inspections that the property is in fact suitable for conversion to town hall use. And whereas the town board has reviewed and will review the 9 factors which are required to be weighed by the town in conducting the Monroe balancing test. And I'm going to refer to the seeker analysis, but we'll do the seeker analysis when I'm finished with this. So the resolution is going to state that we've already made a declaration of the property, the purchase of this property and retrofitting of the same to use of the town hall without having significant environmental impacts. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Northeast Town Board has analyzed, considered, and discussed the following criteria as required by matter of County of Monroe in relation to the acquisition of the subject premises and proposed conversion of the same to a town hall, and hereby finds as follows with regard to each of the factors in the Monroe balancing test. 1, the nature and scope of the instrumentality seeking immunity. The response to that is Town of Northeast Town Board is the municipal body solely responsible for the legislative and the executive functions of the town of Northeast. As such, the town is charged with the responsibility of maintaining a town hall suitable for the municipal operations of its town and its offices. Second factor, the kind and function of land use involved and the extent of the public interest to be served. Town board is authorized, the response to that is the town board is authorized pursuant to the provisions of town law section 2020 subparagraph 2 to purchase, lease, construct, alter, or remodel a town hall or any other necessary building for town purposes and to acquire necessary land, therefore, and equip and furnish the buildings for such purposes. In this regard, the town is vested with the responsibility and obligation to own and maintain a town hall which is suitable in size and means for the location of the town's municipal operations and its officers. Such a building must be handicapped access in accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. The town has been diligently searching for a suitable property on which to construct a new town hall or properties within the towns which are suitable conversion to a town hall, and has been unable to locate any such properties until we've located the subject property. Moreover, the town board has determined that the purchase price of this property and the anticipated price of retrofitting the same for town hall use makes economic sense and is in the best interest of the citizens of the town and its taxpayers. The next factor is the effect the local land use regulations would have upon the enterprise concerned and the impact upon legitimate local interests. And the response to that is if the town of Northeast zoning code was to be applied to the acquisition of this property and conversion of the same, the subject conversion of the same to the town hall use, the town would be prohibited from citing its town hall on the subject premises unless a use variance could be obtained from the town zoning board of appeals, which process would be expensive, time consuming, and the outcome uncertain at best. The next factor is the applicant's legislative grant of authority, and I've already covered that at point 2. The next factor is alternate locations for the town hall in less restricted zoning areas. And the response to that is, given the provisions of the current town code, there are no zoning districts in which the town of Northeast, in which a town hall could be constructed in compliance with the requirements of the zoning code. The next factor is the seeker analysis, which we will conduct after the resolution. The impact on local interest. Pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, seeker, the town board has reviewed an environmental assessment form, and we will do that with respect to the proposed action. And upon reviewing all relevant information as well as the factors listed in seeker's implementing regulations, the town board determined that the proposed action will not have a significant adverse impact. And the town board has also held a public hearing in which the public was afforded an opportunity to comment on the proposed action and the environmental impacts of the same. The next factor is the intergovernmental participation in the project development process. The response to that is that the conversion of the subject premises to a new town hall will be overseen by members of the town board. The town of Northeast, its engineers and other retained professionals and consultants. I didn't add as well as our highway superintendent. And the development of the plans for this town hall conversion will be fully vetted, discussed, and considered by members of the town board and its legal planning and engineering consultants, and the town of Northeast and its citizens and boards in open sessions. And the town planning board and the zoning board of appeals members for the town of Northeast will be permitted to offer comments and suggestions upon review and development of this project, as will the citizens of both the town and the village of Middletown. The final factor is the opportunity to be heard. The town board has provided legal notice of this public hearing to hear and gather evidence as to the interest of the town of Northeast. Planning and zoning boards to exercise regulatory authority over this project as set forth in the matter of the County of Monroe, and to provide an opportunity for public input. And on April, not a, says
April
11th,
13th.
it should be 13th. Sorry. 13th, the town of Northeast Town Board conducted a public hearing at which time public comment was received. And the Monroe balancing test criteria were discussed and reviewed and evaluated by the town board members. And therefore, subject to your vote, be it resolved that the town board hereby declares that the proposed town acquisition of the subject premises shall be exempt from the provisions of the town code, Northeast Town Code. And be it further resolved that the town of Northeast Planning Board shall be permitted to review all plans and specifications for the remodel, for the retrofitting of this property by the town's engineers and architects, and may submit comments to the town board concerning aspects of the project, such as screening and lighting and other aesthetic considerations, and certainly signage, provided such process does not delay or interfere with the project. However, nothing herein shall be construed or interpreted as requiring the town board to implement the town planning board's comments and to seek approval from the planning board for any aspect of this project, because we have declared to be exempt from the town code requirements. So if we could shift to the
Seeker,
seeker, I think I gave that to you.
you did.
Did you have some comments on that or changes? I
did.
unfortunately,
You,
I couldn't get it out in type form, so I hand wrote it. Aesthetically pleasing. And we did a short form environmental assessment form because this is an unlisted action under seeker. It's not a type 1 action. I don't know if you disagree with any of the information, but the name of the action is the acquisition and retrofitting of property for a town hall. The property location is 5603 Route 22 in the town of Northeast. The brief description of the proposed action is the town board proposes to acquire a parcel of land consisting of 3.01 acres improved by a church from the Jehovah's Witnesses and to retrofit the church for use as a town hall in the town of Northeast. There's other information in here about the acreage involved is 3.0 acres. We're not seeking, it's part of the retrofitting. We're not contemplating any change in the land beneath the church. Most of the retrofitting will be the internal retrofitting of the building and some outdoor improvements such as parking, lighting, and signage. And I have indicated that the use is not permitted under our zoning regulations. But I do feel it's consistent with our comprehensive plan. I answered the following questions as follows. Is the proposed action consistent with the predominant character of the existing built or natural landscape? And I answered yes to that. If you disagree with me, let me know. Next question was, is the site of the proposed action located in Or does it adjoin a state listed critical environmental area? The answer to that is no. The next question is, will the proposed action result in a substantial increase in traffic above present levels? It will probably have some sort of increase, but not a substantial increase. The question is, are public transportation services available at or near the site of the proposed action?
I'm
I answered
suggesting,
yes. I'm
I'm
not sure.
suggesting that should be a no.
Yeah, I had originally put a no on that, and then I changed it to yes, but it's actually a no.
And I think the
I
next
tried to
one
flip
should be a
that
no
one
as
back.
well.
Are there any pedestrian accommodations or bicycle routes available at or near the site? Should we answer that?
There are no sidewalks and no
So
bicycle
I'll change
paths.
that from a yes to a no.
Yeah, thank you.
Does the proposed action exceed the state energy code requirements? No, it does not. Will the proposed action connect to an existing public or private water supply? It has a private water supply. So the answer is yes. Will the proposed action connect to existing wastewater facility utilities? Yes, it has a septic system. Not
Right.
a formal municipal system. Next question is, does the project site contain or is it substantially contiguous to a building, archaeological site or district, which is listed on the national or state register of historic places, or that has been determined by the Commissioner of the New York Office of Parks and Recreation and Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the state register of historic places? No, it does not. Is the proposed project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites by the New York State Office of Historic Preservation Office, SHPO? Archaeological site inventory? No. The next question, and obviously we're not going to be doing any intrusion on the property in order to convert this to a town hall. The next question is, does any portion of the site, the proposed action or lands adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands or water bodies regulated by the federal, state, or local agency? No. Would the proposed action physically alter, encroach into any existing wetland or water body? No. And then I've identified the typical habitat. I've identified it as agricultural grasslands and suburban. Does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animals or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? No, it does not. Is the project located in the 100-year floodplain? It is not. Will the proposed action create stormwater discharge either from a point or non-point source? The answer to that is not. No. All the answers under that section are no. Does the proposed action include construction or other activities that would result in the impoundment of water or other liquids, such as a retention pond or waste lagoon or a dam? The answer to that is no. The next question is, has the site of the proposed action or any adjoining property been the location of an active or closed solid waste management facility? No, it's not. And the last question is, has the proposed action, has the site of the proposed action or any adjoining property been the subject of remediation, ongoing or contemplated for hazardous waste? The answer to that is no. If you all agree to that, then the supervisor, when we retype it, can sign this
With those changes that we,
with those changes, then
Yeah.
we'll send this out to you in completed form. And then the last question for you to answer is based upon all of this information and analysis. Have you determined that the proposed action will not result in any significant and adverse environmental impact, such as to require the preparation of a draft environmental impact study? And I've answered that on your behalf. No, if you agree.
I certainly do agree to that.
Okay, so that when you get this, you can sign that. So that's our secret determination. It's what we call a negative secret determination. And with that, I think we're ready to vote on.
So would we first close the public hearing? And then
Yes.
vote up?
Yes.
So before we close the
Does
public
anybody
hearing,
else have any comments on any of you?
I want to thank you all for including the planning board in the process. That's really wonderful. At what point in the process will the planning board be asked to review and comment?
After we have plans for the conversion of the temple to a town hall.
Rough time frame, or you know this?
As soon as possible, but I would say within 2 months.
And I have a technical question for Warren. Does this exemption go with the use, or does it go with the land?
It goes with the use. But it's related to the land. I mean, the use is located on the land, so both the use and the land are exempt for this purpose, for the town hall purpose, because
But only for a town hall.
yeah, but both are exempt.
Any other comments while we have the public hearing open? If not, I would like to ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Could you conduct a roll call?
Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilman Fideli,
aye.
Councilman Midwood,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison. Councilwoman Winkler.
Okay,
We have finished our second Monroe balancing test.
well, now we have the resolution in front of us. We only voted to close the hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought I read the resolution.
You read the resolution, but we didn't.
Now you have to vote on the resolution.
Yeah. Because now that we've closed the public hearing, the resolution actually reads better. Because it says that we had a hearing,
It's a little awkward to
Yeah.
do one of these things, so
but
I tried to
anyway, we have,
shuffle it as best I could.
Warren has read the resolution concerning the Monroe balancing test. I do believe that this is in the best interest of the town. I think this is, the purchase of this property for a town hall is a 10 strike for the town of Northeast. This building is long ago outlived its ability to host a proper town government, and to be able to purchase a building which is entirely adequate, all on one floor, with no stairs in sight, for less than $100 a square foot, which if anybody who's at all familiar with construction costs know is a bargain and a half, is a great step forward. We still have a lot of work to do. I'm very grateful that Jeannie Van Echo, who's here tonight, who's helping us with the interior design. It's a big empty space at the moment and will be formed into offices as well as a court for the town of Northeast. And I just want to really thank Jeannie, well, I have the opportunity to in public, for her really great help so far and down the road. With that, I would entertain a motion to accept the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
We should do a roll call on this one.
And Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilman Fideli,
Aye.
Councilman Midwood,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison. Councilwoman Winkler.
Yeah.
All right. There.
Okay, thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the formation of Town of Northeast wastewater district. This relates to the ongoing effort of the town of Northeast and the village of Millerton to construct a wastewater system for a portion of the village and for the commercial areas of the boulevard. This is something which was highlighted in the comprehensive plan for the village and the town as being the #1 priority for the future growth of our community as a really urgent priority. It's a daunting project. It is a very complicated project. And it's not an inexpensive project, and it's something that we will be working on for a long time. So this is gonna come up at many board meetings down the road. The basic concept is that the Village of Millerton will will establish a wastewater district, which basically is the commercial Main Street area of the village for the most part, and construct a wastewater treatment plant. And they will do that. The town, establish a wastewater district, which, as I mentioned, is essentially the boulevard, the commercial properties in the boulevard. And in due course, it will connect to the system of the village. In order for us to move forward on fundraising, and fundraising is a hugely important of this aspect of this project. We will be reaching out for federal and state dollars to support this. And there are a lot of funds in the system at the moment. There's a lot of interest in water and wastewater systems. So what our next step before we can formally go out for assistance is to establish a wastewater district, which really means essentially saying these are the properties that would be included in it. And the properties are the commercial properties on the boulevard between CBS and Connecticut border. So Warren, we have a plan of how we want to proceed on that.
Yeah, we had a public informational meeting on this, and I briefly described the two processes that were available to create our portion of the district. And they're both under town law. One is called the Article 12 method, and the other is called the Article 12A method. The Article 12 method is the petition method, whereby there is if the town is presented with a petition signed by the property owners of 50% of the assessed value of the properties within the proposed district. And let me backtrack a moment. We have commissioned and authorized the preparation of a map plan and report for the design of the district and for the cost attendant in developing the district and the cost of property owners by Ty and Bond. And they have also produced a map plan and report to the village. And as supervisor has indicated, we can't do one without the other. The village has to form their, not really a district, but they have different regulations and laws than the town does. But they form their end of the wastewater treatment facility in accordance with the requirements of the village law. And we are governed to establish our portion of the district, which will connect to the village by these two provisions in the town law, section 12, Article 12 and Article 12A. And Article 12 is what we call the petition method. And as I indicated before in the meeting, the process is initiated by a petition of the property owners representing at least half of the assessed value of properties within the proposed district. There are certain requirements, procedural, technical requirements for the way that a petition is created and formulated and signed. If that petition is in fact properly signed and executed and presented to the town board would then vote on accepting the petition if it's in correct form, and scheduling a public hearing, and making a determination after the conduct of the public hearing as to whether to form the district. And if that happens, then the district formation process would go to the state controller for their approval. The other method is the town's own, I call it the town's own volition method, whereby the town initiates the process under 12A of the town law. And under that method, the town board would take the initiative of conducting a public hearing and voting on the formation of the district, which would then be subject to a permissive referendum by a certain percentage of the property owners within the district, not townwide. And then the process proceeds in a similar fashion from there. It would go up to the state controller. Based upon the size of the district and the input that we've managed to receive from the public as a result of the public informational meeting that we had, and some outreach that's been performed by our supervisor and representatives of the town. I recommend that the town proceed with the petition method under Article 12 of the town law. And if that's acceptable to the town board, all you have to do is give me your oral authorization to go ahead and prepare the petition. Now, the petition does not have to be prepared by the town, but it is not inappropriate. In fact, it's in most cases, the town does participate in the creation of the petition. That way it's ensured that it's done properly and it gets to the property owners. And it's a much easier process because we only have 28 properties here. So if the town board gives me the nod to go ahead with the petition method, I would go ahead and prepare the petition on behalf of the town, which would then be circulated to the owners of the properties within the district to seek their signatures and notarized signatures on the petition. And if we get a sufficient number of signatures on that petition, it would then be presented to the town board, and we would proceed with the public hearing and process as I described. So if it's acceptable to the town board, I feel that I can have a petition drafted for the town board's review, not a signed petition, but a draft petition ready by April 24th. And if it's acceptable to the town board, I would like or recommend that we have a special meeting conducted on that night, at which time I will present the petition to the town board. And I'm going to have another resolution formally adopting the map plan report, which we did informally before, but at that point, we would then have a formal resolution filing that in the town clerk's office. And then it would be up to the town board and whoever is going to undertake that task to circulate the petition among the property owners. And once we get it back, we move forward with that process.
Thank you. I have had the opportunity to have had informal communications with a number of the property owners out in the boulevard. And the ones that I have spoken to understand the value of the sewer system for these commercial properties. And I am quite confident that a majority of the assessed value of the properties in the boulevard will be happy to sign a petition. I think that's a good way of moving forward. I want to move forward as quickly as we can on this. Because we have an enormous amount of work to do after the formation of the district. As you know, fundraising, which I referred to, and all the various legal steps, which are daunting. I mean, this is not an easy project.
It's a daunting process.
But anyway, I would like to ask for a motion to agree that we move forward with the Article 12, I think it's called, under the town law process, a petition process, and call for a special meeting of the town board on Monday, April 24th at 6 p.m. at Town Hall. Okay, thank you. And
Roll call.
oh, why not?
Okay. Supervisor Cannon.
You can probably tell me why not, but anyway.
No. Supervisor
Aye.
Councilman Midwood,
Aye.
Councilman Fideli,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison. Aye. Councilwoman Winkler.
Aye.
Okay,
We're all set.
with that, we're all set with that. We have. Okay, the next item is renewal. No, approval of mobile home park and junkyard permits. We have two mobile home parks and one junkyard in the town. And they are. Here with me for a second. Denwood Knolls. And. The other one is Scenic View of the two mobile home parks. They have been, thank you, Jeannie. They've been inspected in addition to the junkyard, which is Thompson and Graham Metals. They've all been inspected by the building inspector, and therefore I'm asking for a motion to renew their permits.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next item is we have a bond anticipation note. We have two bond anticipation notes, which are in effect at the moment. And we have one which is coming up for renewal. Which is held by Salisbury Bank. And it expires on April 21. And we have solicited bids from three neighboring banks for renewal of the ban. And as we all know, interest rates have gone up a lot. So we were very lucky last year to have had interest rates on our bands of one was below 1% and one was at 2.5. We have received a bid of 3.96% from the Bank of Greene County for renewal of this ban. And I would like to ask for a motion from the board to approve the renewal.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The next item is we have two resignations, or we have had two resignations from the Board of Assessment Review. And the Board of Assessment Review, as its name suggests, works with the assessor's office and reviews grievances against assessments. We have posted the vacancy on the board, which is informally known as the BAR. Board of Assessment Review. We posted the vacancies on the town's website. We have received two applications for those vacancies. I have, and members of the board have had the opportunity to meet with the two who have applied for this. The two are Liz Barrett and Delora Brooks. And since we have two vacancies and they both have indicated their interest in serving on this board and have also met with the assessor. And I can tell you that the assessor is delighted to have these two be willing to serve on the board. I would like to ask for a motion to appoint Liz Barrett. Both of these resignations are for terms that are not complete. So I'd like to ask for a motion to appoint Liz Barrett to a 3-year term and Delora Brooks for a 1-year term. And then they will obviously come up for renewal in due course. But I've met with both, and I'm really delighted that we're strengthening the Board of Assessment Review and bringing fresh faces to the community of the town of Northeast. So with that, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve those two.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public comment. We at this time, we always do, invite comment from the public. If there's anything that public has that like to comment on, now's the time. Mr. Kish.
Yeah, Rick, I understand that you're going to have either an executive session tonight or an attorney-client session.
We held an attorney-client session earlier today.
Okay. So I guess I'll say what I was going to say anyway, which is just that, you know, I hope that the town board considers attorney-client sessions in the same light that they do executive sessions for the purposes of open government. In other words, if you absolutely need to discuss something in a confidential manner with your attorney because it affects a legal case or impacts the purchase of property or something like that, then it's completely appropriate. But there are plenty of things that we can talk to your attorney about that do not require that level of confidentiality. And I hope in those cases that those will be discussed in public session.
Anyone else have public comment at this time? If not, I'm going to move on to the financials and what? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Tilly. We have the Parkinson's, the resolution noting that April is Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. And we've approved this resolution from the town board noting April as Parkinson's Awareness Month. Every year, for some reason, we did not get a request from the Dutchess County Parkinson's Support Group. But Tilly noted that we had not gotten that request and that it's the right month. So we have a resolution which has been distributed to the board, noting that April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. And I would like to ask for the approval of the board at this point for us to note that April is Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. Would somebody like to make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, yeah, we wanted to mention Habitat for Humanity. And we, as we've noted in previous meetings, we have a small parcel of land which is owned by the town of Northeast on Red Pond Road, which we have offered to Habitat for Humanity for them to construct a house. And that offer was for a period of time. It's gone by. They still have some work to do, I believe, to get back to us. And I think the board is amenable to extending that 60-day period for them to see whether this is something they're going to be able to do.
Right, in the contract, we provided them with a 60-day due diligence period. So that they could determine whether the property was suitable for the construction of a affordable housing. Single or two-family residence. And they ran into some headwinds on it and had some difficulty with the building inspector's office. Which has now been resolved, but they would like an extension of time for another 60 days to complete their due diligence. And I'm totally in favor of that, if you, if the board
Okay.
is.
Well, in that case, I'd like to ask for a motion to extend the period of time for Habitat for Humanity of Dutchess County to evaluate the property which the town has offered to them for sale for the construction of a 1 or 2 family house.
I'll give them the acceptable 60 days from today.
Could I have a motion to approve that extension?
Some
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Anything else that I've forgotten?
You got it.
All right. Warren, with that, I think we've gone through all the things. I know you've got to drive.
Yeah. All right, I'll see you 24th.
Yeah. And the
Thank
24th.
you.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, Warren.
Budget adjustment number 2. A fund. I have an expense increase of $42,000, less the revenue increase of $43,000. The net is 0, and I have a motion to approve the budget adjustment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No, that's approved. I have a special abstract dated March 10, 2023, totaling $43,000, broken down as follows. A fund, $43,000. Could I have a motion to accept the special abstract?
So moved.
Ralph,
second.
Meg? Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'll pass this around. That's that. I have a special abstract dated March 27th, 2023, totaling $17,727.64. Broken down as follows. A fund, $3,805.62. B fund, $354.75. TV fund, $13,567.27. Could I have a motion to accept the special abstract?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I think Lana was second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? And I have an abstract dated April 13th, 2023, totaling $765,080.14. Broken down as follows. A fund, $264,499.88. B fund, $3,004.95. DV fund, $72,795.89. Capital projects, H1, $424,145.69. Water district SW1, $150. T and A2 escrow, $227.50. Payroll, T and A, $256.23. Could I have a motion to accept the abstract?
So moved.
Ralph,
Second.
Lana? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. It is April 13th, 2023. The voucher committee for May will be Ralph Fidelli and Meg Winkler. Tilly has provided the town board with a copy of the minutes from the meeting of March 9th, 2023. The board has had a chance, I hope, to review the minutes. And if somebody would like to, if there are any corrections, now's the time to say so, but otherwise I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
It wasn't at that board meeting.
Okay, so you should.
I'm not.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
All in favor,
Aye.
abstain,
Staying,
oppose? Okay, that's the right thing to do.
right.
Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Thank you very much.
It's gotta get me to do that.
Okay, hold on, don't everybody leave at once. Anyway, thank you for coming tonight.
Did they get the tree down? They did. Somebody told me they had it. No.
That's why they came, got up when it's
Oh.
came back. And that's what I saw.
Did they say when they were coming back?
Everybody. No, for the bank.
But it was Northwest Lawn, right?
Bank.
There.
Tomorrow still they want it back. Have you your mind?
I will,
Well,
we will.
all discussion.
We'll say that in the morning.
All discussion on this one. So the band.
Signature now. And Tilly, this is, you know, the Salisbury Bank is being converted to another bank. There's paperwork we have to fill out.
Oh, Councilwoman, yes.
Are you available? Did you sign? Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then
and we
we'll
don't
go
need to
final.
change anything on it either. I talked to things and I'll have to believe them.
Yeah, there's one item, there's one or two items on there that I'd like.
That you want to
Yeah.
take out?
But less than. that was out
3.9. It's at 2.96%.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the lowest.
Think I need to sign this, but I will. Well, you should tell Chris.
Alright,
If you ever need someone to hire.
Okay, okay, well, it's gonna be a while before we get anything of this. It's gonna be a couple of years. But,
Really?
yeah,
I signed her thing that she attended this as part, she needed someone to sign that she attended at something in government.
okay, great.
Awesome. For coming.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Who is she? Student, right, at Wichita?
Yeah.
Government class, extra credit or something.
Oh, good for her.
What does her father do?
She said he works for all different towns, let's do it. I guess. Does it consultant or that? Engineer, I don't know.
Okay,
There's someone asked me yesterday, a realtor.
wait a minute, let me just turn this off.